Shadrach. Welcome to August. Welcome back to Thursday Spirituality. I'm talking today about the power and the purpose of repetition in our spiritual life. I know sometimes there are seasons, maybe several Sundays in a row, maybe it's Advent or Lent, where we have in worship the same call to worship or the same liturgy, the same sending forth or the same song several weeks in a row. And some people like that, some people don't. Maybe it feels like the staff is just dialing it in, like we're just copying, pasting from last Sunday and nothing new. And why do we do that? And so we were talking about this at the staff meeting the other week. We really do talk about really bizarre and theological things at the staff meeting, believe it or not. And so we're talking about this, and I was like, well, there are reasons that we do this. And so today's Spirituality Thursday is just a little exploration of why do we do this and what's the value of repetition, of habit building in the spiritual life. So I have some notes I'm going to pull up on the screen, but mostly it's going to be unscripted, just me sharing a couple ideas with you about why you might find value, why you might find comfort and purpose in habits and repetition in the spiritual life. So clicking over. Okay, awesome. First I'll start by saying, children really understand this, like innately, like they just get it, right? That they ask us for the same song, the same story, the same book, the same movie, the same food. They know that Friday night is always pizza night or whatever it is. And they relish that repetition. And we think as adults that we've maybe outgrown this, but maybe we're wrong. And maybe there's value in the same, in reruns and repetition. So we can let go of the need to be new and improved in our spiritual journeys. So first we find that when we repeat things, when we have those healthy spiritual habits, that we're tied to the past, that we pray sometimes the same prayers that our ancestors offered, the same prayers, the same way, the same kinds of settings even. And this is comforting, of course, or it can be for some people, but it also recognizes that even with all of our smart, postmodern, 21st century wonderfulness, there is such a thing as spiritual technology, that our ancestors knew what they were doing when they developed practices like silence and music, rhythm, darkness and light, stillness and movement, fasting and sharing meals together, both the contrasts and all those things, connection and community, and also solitude. That as long as there have been creatures on the earth called human, we have been doing these same things, and there's value in them, and we can explore those same values. And also we find when we pray the same prayer over and over again, or we find ourselves on Sunday morning saying the same call to worship, again, the same as last week, that we know the words are the same, but they feel different. They land differently on us sometimes because we are different from week to week and moment to moment. And so that repetition gives us an opportunity to reflect on why that might be. Why are we different? And why is the same prayer bringing me to tears when I know it by heart? So those are good things to explore. We also are called to patience. When we pray again and again the same prayers, the same ways, it reminds us that our timeline is not God's timeline, that the direction of the universe is not ours to control. And we develop patience. Sometimes those same prayers seem dry as dust, and sometimes they call the real felt experience of the divine to us. And we just relish that mystery and sort of the steadfast patience of the spiritual journey. We want to be kind, compassionate, and faithful, just as God is. And so we are consistent and steadfast and faithful in the same way that God is. We try, right? Also, repetition in our prayer life, our spiritual life, brings us to humility. We allow God to be God. We know that we are not God. We're small and finite. Our lives are short. And we offer those same prayers and the same practices that humans have done for millennia. And we recognize that we don't need to impress God. We don't need to be wow to ourselves or to God or even to one another. That we can be mundane and small and human. And that's okay. We can give ourselves permission to be small and finite and know our place in the universe. That we are a little lower than the angels and also dust, right? That there's a little reflection I learned years ago. In one pocket I have a rock, and in one pocket I have a gold coin, because I am completely mundane, nothing unusual at all, like a rock or pebble, and also precious beyond words, like a gold coin. Repetition in the spiritual life also brings us to just everyday healthy habit building. When we do the same things and the same practices over and over again, we allow reminders to be built into our everyday life. So we see the candle that we might light on Sunday morning, or we are walking through the bedroom right by our meditation cushion, and we think, oh, yeah, life is good. And those little reminders and habits, if we allow them, can sanctify our everyday life and bring a little touch of divine to just a regular Thursday afternoon, right? Finally, this practice of repetition gives us permission to be human, that we recognize that sometimes we're just dialing it in and we're really not present fully. We're just going through the motions, even on Sunday morning with one another. And so when we repeat prayers and liturgies and songs, we give ourselves and our community some grace and say, maybe you didn't hear it the first time. That's okay. Here's an opportunity to catch up with one another, to experience something again, but new. So those are my thoughts today on repetition and habit building, and just being kind of boring in your spiritual life. There's something old-fashioned and really unsexy about the whole thing, but that is okay and it's good. So as our habits bring us back to August, back to regular, robust experiences of worship, spiritual formation, and those times in community together, it's all good. It's very good. And if you find yourself in this season with new things, with opportunities for discernment or decision making, or a renewed faith or a faith full of doubts, I hope that you'll explore that in community or in spiritual direction. So I will see you perhaps tomorrow for Yoga Nidra, or Sunday morning for our virtual worship service, apart and on Zoom. Thanks so much, and take good care.